Inspector Lisa Chen adjusted her clipboard and security badge as she walked down the pristine corridors of the USS Columbia, one of America's most advanced nuclear submarines. To the crew members who nodded respectfully as she passed, she appeared to be nothing more than another civilian contractor, conducting routine safety inspections, blonde hair pulled back in a professional bun, wire-rimmed glasses, and the kind of unremarkable appearance that made her blend seamlessly into any bureaucratic environment. What they didn't know was that Lisa Chen wasn't her real name. What they couldn't have imagined was that the woman walking among them held more control over America's nuclear arsenal than the president himself. Her real designation was Agent Iceberg-7, and she was one of only 12 people in the world who possessed the ultimate failsafe authority over nuclear weapons systems. The Iceberg Protocol was so classified that its existence was known to fewer than 50 individuals, including the President, the Joint Chiefs, and the Director of National Intelligence. The date was the 14th of October, 2024, and the USS Columbia was conducting routine patrol operations in the North Pacific, carrying 24 Trident II ballistic missiles, each capable of delivering multiple nuclear warheads with enough combined firepower to level entire nations. "Ma'am, if you'll follow me to the Weapons Control Center," said Lieutenant Commander Sarah Mitchell, the submarine's weapons officer. "Captain Rodriguez wanted to ensure you had full access for your inspection." Lisa nodded professionally. "Thank you, Commander. I appreciate the cooperation. These safety audits are crucial for maintaining operational readiness." As they walked deeper into the submarine's restricted areas, Lisa's trained eyes were cataloging everything: crew behavior, security protocols, system access points. What she was really doing was conducting a threat assessment that had nothing to do with safety inspections. 3 days earlier, the National Security Agency had detected anomalous communications emanating from the Pacific Fleet's nuclear command structure. Encrypted messages that shouldn't exist, routed through channels that bypassed normal oversight. Someone was attempting to compromise the nuclear chain of command, and the Iceberg Protocol had been activated. The Weapons Control Center was a testament to American military engineering. Banks of computers, secure communication systems, and the launch control panels that could unleash global destruction with the turn of a few keys. Lisa noted the positions of the duty officers, the security cameras, and, most importantly, the personnel with access to the launch systems. Inspector Chen, Captain Rodriguez, emerged from behind a control console, extending his hand with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Welcome aboard the Columbia. I trust you'll find our systems in perfect order." Lisa shook his hand, immediately noting the slight tremor, the perspiration despite the submarine's cool temperature, the way his eyes kept glancing toward the secure communications terminal. In her 15 years as an Iceberg operative, she had learned to read the tells of compromised personnel. "Captain, I'd like to begin with your communication systems. Standard protocol requires verification of all encrypted channels." "Of course," Rodriguez replied, but Lisa caught the micro-expression of concern that flashed across his face. "Commander Mitchell will escort you. I need to attend to some routine operational matters." As Rodriguez walked away, Lisa activated a nearly invisible device hidden in her pen, a signal detector that could identify unauthorized transmission equipment. The readings made her blood run cold. Someone aboard this submarine was communicating with external sources using equipment that wasn't supposed to exist. "Commander Mitchell," Lisa said quietly, "I need you to listen very carefully. What I'm about to tell you is classified at the highest possible level. Your captain may be compromised." Mitchell's professional composure wavered. "Ma'am, I'm not sure what you're suggesting, but Captain Rodriguez is—" "Commander, look at this badge." Lisa discreetly showed Mitchell a second identification card, one that carried the distinctive Iceberg Protocol seal, a simple white circle on a blue background that designated ultimate nuclear authority. "Do you know what this means?" Mitchell's face went pale. Every nuclear qualified officer received classified briefings about the Iceberg Protocol, though most believed it was theoretical. You're one of them, the failsafe authorities. Right now, I have reason to believe that someone aboard this submarine is planning to compromise your nuclear launch systems. I need your complete cooperation, and I need it without alerting anyone else to my real identity." Before Mitchell could respond, the submarine's alarm system activated. All hands, this is the captain. We have received emergency launch authorization. All weapons personnel report to battle stations." Lisa's heart stopped. This was it. The scenario every Iceberg operative trained for but hoped would never happen. Someone was attempting to launch nuclear weapons without proper authorization. "Commander, that launch order is false. No legitimate launch authorization has been issued. Someone is trying to start a nuclear war." Mitchell stared at her in shock. "But the codes, the authentication, can be faked if you have the right equipment and inside knowledge. I need to reach the missile control room immediately." As they raced through the submarine's corridors, Lisa could hear the crew preparing for what they believed was a legitimate launch order. The professionalism and speed with which they responded was terrifying under the circumstances. Within minutes, they could unleash enough nuclear firepower to trigger global apocalypse. In the missile control room, she found Captain Rodriguez and 2 other officers running through pre-launch procedures. The captain looked up as she entered, his expression shifting from surprise to something much more dangerous. "Inspector Chen, this is a restricted area. You need to leave immediately." "Captain Rodriguez, I'm ordering you to stand down. These launch codes are not authentic." Rodriguez's hand moved toward his sidearm. "I don't know who you really are, but you're not going to interfere with a direct order from the Pentagon." Lisa held up her Iceberg badge, her voice carrying new authority. "Captain, I am Agent Iceberg-7. Under the nuclear failsafe protocol, I have ultimate authority over all nuclear weapon systems. You will stand down immediately." The room went silent. The other officers stared in confusion and growing alarm as they realized they were witnessing something that wasn't supposed to be possible. "The Iceberg Protocol is a myth," Rodriguez said, but his voice lacked conviction. Lisa approached the main launch console and placed her hand on a biometric scanner that few people knew existed. Hidden beneath the standard control panel, a secondary system activated, displaying the distinctive Iceberg interface. "Iceberg-7 authenticated," the computer announced in a calm female voice. "Awaiting authorization override." Rodriguez raised his weapon. "Step away from that console." "Captain, the launch codes you received are fake. Check the authentication sequence. It's missing the final verification that only comes from the President's emergency communicator. Someone is using you to start an unauthorized nuclear strike." Lieutenant Commander Mitchell had been quietly checking the communication logs. "Captain, she's right. The final authentication code is missing. This launch order isn't legitimate." Rodriguez's face showed a mixture of confusion and desperation. But the communication came through proper channels. The codes matched. "Because someone with access to those channels is working with foreign intelligence," Lisa explained, her hand hovering over the override controls. "The NSA detected compromised communications 3 days ago. That's why I'm here." "I don't believe you," Rodriguez said, but his weapon was wavering. Lisa activated her communicator. "Iceberg Command, this is Agent 7, requesting emergency authentication of launch order received by USS Columbia at 1,347 hours. The response came within seconds. "Agent 7, no legitimate launch orders have been issued. You are authorized to use any means necessary to prevent unauthorized weapons deployment." Rodriguez lowered his weapon, the full horror of the situation hitting him. "My God, someone tried to use my submarine to start a nuclear war." "Captain, I need you to secure all communication systems immediately. We have a hostile agent aboard this vessel, and they may attempt to trigger the launch manually." As if summoned by her words, the submarine's lights flickered and emergency power activated. Someone had cut the main electrical systems. "Battle stations," Rodriguez commanded, his training overriding his shock. "Security teams to all critical areas. We have a hostile aboard." Lisa was already moving toward the backup launch controls. In the red emergency lighting, she could see that someone had attempted to manually override the safety systems. The hostile agent was trying to trigger a launch using auxiliary power. "Commander Mitchell, I need you to help me trace these manual overrides. Someone with detailed knowledge of this submarine's systems is trying to bypass the automated safeguards." Working quickly in the emergency lighting, Lisa accessed the Iceberg Protocol's deepest security layers. Her fingers flew over controls that most naval officers didn't know existed. Systems designed as the ultimate protection against exactly this scenario. "Agent Iceberg-7, she spoke into her communicator. "Activating total system lockdown. Authorization code Omega-77. Every nuclear weapon system aboard the Columbia went into complete shutdown. No launch would be possible without a complete system restart that could only be authorized by Presidential Command Authority." "There," Mitchell pointed to a maintenance access panel that had been forced open. "Someone's been accessing the manual launch circuits." Through the open panel, they could see fresh tool marks and recently disturbed wiring. The hostile agent had been preparing for this moment, possibly for months. "Security teams, this is the captain," Rodriguez announced over the intercom. "We have confirmation of hostile sabotage. All personnel are to remain at current stations until further notice." Lisa was studying the sabotage when she noticed something that made her blood run cold. The work was too professional, too precise. This wasn't the work of a lone agent. This was a sophisticated operation that required inside knowledge of both the submarine systems and the Iceberg Protocol itself. "Captain, we need to check your crew manifest against a classified watch list. This operation required someone with legitimate access to nuclear systems." As they reviewed the personnel files, one name stood out: Chief Petty Officer Marcus Webb, a communication specialist who had been aboard for 6 months and had access to both the submarine's communication systems and the weapons control areas. "Where is Webb right now?" Lisa asked. Rodriguez checked his personnel tracking system. He should be in communications, but the system shows his last location as Maintenance Deck 3. That's directly below the missile compartment, Mitchell realized. If he's trying to manually trigger a launch? They raced through the submarine's narrow corridors, emergency lighting casting eerie shadows as they descended toward the missile compartment. Lisa could hear the sound of power tools ahead. Someone was still working to bypass the safety systems. In the missile compartment, they found Chief Petty Officer Webb hunched over an exposed control panel, sweat pouring down his face as he attempted to hot-wire the launch circuits. "Webb," Rodriguez shouted, "step away from that panel." Webb spun around, a makeshift weapon in his hand, a modified electrical tool that could deliver a potentially lethal shock. "You don't understand. This has to happen. The orders are clear." "Chief, there are no legitimate orders," Lisa said, keeping her voice calm despite the adrenaline. "You've been manipulated. Check your communication logs. The authentication is incomplete." "You're lying. The homeland is under attack. We have to launch now or—" "Chief," Lisa interrupted, "I'm Agent Iceberg-7. I have ultimate authority over these weapons. No launch has been authorized." Webb's face showed genuine confusion and growing desperation. "Iceberg? But that's impossible. You're just an inspector." "The Iceberg Protocol is real, Chief. And right now, I'm the only thing standing between you and starting World War I/II based on false information." Webb looked at the evidence around him, the captain's confirmation, the missing authentication codes, the reality that his orders didn't match proper protocol. Slowly, he lowered his improvised weapon. I thought I was saving the country," he said, his voice breaking. "Chief, you were being used. The communications you received were designed to manipulate you into starting an unauthorized nuclear strike. You're not a traitor. You're a victim." As security personnel secured Webb and the compromised systems, Lisa activated her emergency communicator one final time. "Iceberg Command. This is Agent 7. Crisis resolved. Nuclear systems secure. Request immediate investigation team for compromised communications network." Captain Rodriguez approached her as the immediate crisis subsided. "Agent, I don't even know what to call you." "Lisa is fine, Captain. And what happened here today stays classified at the highest levels. Your crew believes they participated in a drill. Nothing more." "But Webb will be debriefed and treated for psychological manipulation. He's not the enemy here. He's another victim of whoever orchestrated this." 3 hours later, as the submarine returned to normal operations, Lisa stood in the captain's quarters writing her after-action report. The scope of the conspiracy was still being uncovered, but preliminary investigation suggested a sophisticated foreign intelligence operation designed to trick American nuclear forces into launching unauthorized strikes. "Agent," Rodriguez said quietly, "can I ask you something? Within security limitations. How many of you are there?" "Iceberg operatives." 12, Lisa replied simply. 12 people who can override any nuclear weapons system anywhere in the world if the chain of command is compromised. "And you walk among us, invisible just in case?" "Captain, nuclear weapons represent the ultimate power and the ultimate responsibility. The Iceberg Protocol exists because sometimes the system can be compromised. Sometimes people can be manipulated. And sometimes the only thing preventing global catastrophe is one person with the authority to say no." Rodriguez was quiet for a moment. "Do you ever think about it? The weight of that responsibility?" Lisa looked out through the submarine's periscope at the vast Pacific Ocean. Somewhere out there, other submarines carried similar arsenals. In silos across America and around the world, thousands of nuclear weapons waited for orders that could end civilization. Every day, Captain. Every single day. 2 weeks later, the investigation revealed the full scope of the conspiracy. A coordinated effort by foreign intelligence services to compromise multiple links in the nuclear chain of command, using sophisticated psychological manipulation and forged communications to trick American forces into launching unauthorized strikes. Chief Petty Officer Webb was cleared of all charges after extensive psychological evaluation confirmed he had been the victim of an elaborate manipulation campaign. He was quietly transferred to non-nuclear duties and received counseling for the trauma of nearly starting a nuclear war. Captain Rodriguez received a commendation for his quick thinking and cooperation during the crisis, though the official record simply noted exceptional performance during classified operations. And Agent Iceberg-7 returned to her cover identity as a civilian safety inspector, traveling from base to base, submarine to submarine, always watching, always ready for the moment when someone might again try to use America's nuclear arsenal for unauthorized purposes. The official report, classified at levels so high that most government officials would never see it, concluded with a simple statement: the Iceberg Protocol functioned as designed. Nuclear crisis averted through proper application of failsafe authority. But Lisa Chen knew the real truth was more complex. In the modern world, where information could be manipulated and trusted personnel could be turned. The ultimate protection against nuclear catastrophe wasn't technology or protocols, it was human judgment. 12 people, scattered around the world, carrying the ultimate responsibility for ensuring that humanity's most destructive weapons were never used without legitimate authority. 12 people who walked among the military and intelligence communities, invisible and unrecognized, until the moment when everything depended on their willingness to say no to unauthorized orders, regardless of the consequences. The Iceberg Protocol would never appear in public documents or historical records. The operatives would never receive public recognition or acknowledgement. But as long as nuclear weapons existed, they would be there, hidden in plain sight, ready to prevent the ultimate catastrophe. In her final report, Lisa wrote, "Nuclear security is not just about technology or procedures. It is about ensuring that human wisdom and judgment remain the final check on humanity's most dangerous capabilities." The Iceberg Protocol serves as proof that sometimes the most important heroes are the ones nobody knows exist. As the USS Columbia completed its patrol and returned to port, life aboard the submarine returned to normal. The crew had no idea how close they had come to triggering a global nuclear conflict, or that their salvation had come from a woman they thought was just another bureaucratic inspector. And in naval bases around the world, other iceberg operatives continued their silent vigil, ensuring that the weapons designed to protect civilization would never be used to destroy it.